Commission regular meeting for Wednesday, March 18th at 7:01. Can I get a roll call starting from the left with Sarah?
Sarah Gruslick, present.
Pete Halleck here.
Stuart Wooters, present.
Paul Brakeman, present.
So we have 4 members of the commission here, which is enough for quorum. And so we can continue with this meeting. Adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair,
I'm sorry?
I just wanted the agenda has a wrong date on your next meeting, so I didn't know if you wanted to correct that.
Yes,
during
so
this
we are not meeting in the past in our next meeting. So, yes, so what's the date that we were,
April 15th.
okay, April 15th, 2026 will be our next meeting. So we'll update the agenda with that. Any other changes or modifications to the agenda?
The current agenda or the,
The current agenda?
I have none.
No.
Okay, all right. Then can I get a motion to adopt the agenda for tonight with the modification of the upcoming meeting date being change to the correct date?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. So we'll move now to the minutes from the previous meeting. Any concerns or questions with regards to the minutes from last meeting?
Yes, note of order. My father was not here during roll call.
Keep doing that.
I was here.
Should be Paul, not
Should we Paul, not
Randy.
Makes sense. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I am not the building clerk either.
yeah, so,
Thank you very much.
for the record, do you want to say what your exact title is, just to make
Building
sure?
official.
Thank you, building official, that way we can get that updated in the minutes. All right, great. Anything else that needs to be changed from last meeting minutes?
No.
No, because every motion I made is using my last name, so it makes it easy for that one adjustment.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so then can we get a motion to adopt the minutes with the modification for the titled and name? So build-in as title and then,
Motion to adopt the minutes with said changes.
okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Great. All right, so now we'll move on to Plan Commission official report. Trustee Sally, would you mind doing your council liaison report for us, please?
Yeah, thank you. At the last meeting, I updated everyone just around the priorities and the conversation that was had around the nuisance abatement conversation, and particularly highlighted the fact that, again, appreciation for honoring kind of our reorganization of priorities, but also highlighted to them, again, that when we talk about things like nuisance or other, sorry, not nuisance, but litter and other things similar to that within somebody's yard, it can sometimes be hard to create a standard that's not subjective and to really create that objective threshold. So again, I kind of told everybody that you all would look at kind of the best practices of other communities as examples, but ultimately we should expect that that could be a hang up for you all and should contemplate and think about ahead of time how we want to be responsive to help provide you all direction.
Like bikes in the yard versus
Yes, exactly.
cars on blocks.
Exactly. So
Both are toys.
both are toys. One is a power wheel. One is a non-functioning real wheel.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I don't have anything additional to say, other than thank you, Trustee Sally, for giving the report for me during the meeting. Commissioners, any updates from your side that you want to bring forward?
I've been working with Main Street. I know that they got their Genesis Credit Union grant, that they're doing a matching grant that's out there already right now for business owners to do rent assistant. So that is out, as well as they are taking new board member applications for Main Street Franklin. So I know that all went out with Evan, so if anyone is interested, that is on, I believe, the website and in the newsletter, but that's all I have.
Okay.
Is the Genesis Credit Union, what is that? That,
So they apply, Main Street Franklin applied, with Oakland County Main Street, and they want a grant with Genesis Credit Union so that they would be the beneficiary, so they could do a matching grant. So what it is that, Main Street will match the grant from Genesis, for the application in terms of, rent assistance, so someone could apply, a business owner could apply, to be able to do that within, those that are on Main Street, and they will match
so
what Genesis
are
is
they the
giving.
new owner of the old
No,
bank
so this
building?
was just a grant that they
So
applied
they're-
through Oakland County Main Street.
They're benefactors? What does Genesis Credit Union have to do with Franklin?
So
By
they sponsored this grant
I see.
from
With Oakland County.
from the county, yeah.
Okay,
banks and credit unions in this country have to do a Community Reinvestment Act, and this is part of those grants that
Right.
do that.
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, does anybody know what's happening with the bank building?
Yeah.
Is there something we can share publicly yet? Anything we can share publicly yet?
Sure. The previous potential sale, did not commence through closing, and according to the CBRE real estate person, he's had numerous conversations with many other people.
Okay,
All right.
good.
Good.
Thank you.
Good to know.
So, I mean, there's still activity toward the end of having it
Mhm.
bought and used by someone.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, one other thing that, I guess Commissioner, not as the chairperson thing for us is, we received, the village received a grant with regards to some, property, some sidewalk, not sidewalk, pathway maintenance, from the federal government. We're gonna get some more information on how that should be executed and distributed, later, but the planning commission will be, asked to assist, potentially the council in with regards to how we organize and utilize it. It is this grant that specifically, working with the village administrator, it is a grant specifically for a purpose, but it is sufficient that we can maybe augment other pathways in the village. So there's some discussion. We'll learn more as we go along, and that will we'll find out how we'll be involved in the future. So,
Right.
but yeah. Okay, zoning. Was there anything from zoning? Because Linda's not here, but were you involved at all for any of the zoning? Okay, nothing happened. All right, public comments. Still no public comments today. Really want the public here, unfortunately. I really, actually, especially to start digging into these abatement discussions, I really want to make sure that people don't feel like they're blindsided. So the more we can get people here for the discussions on our agenda, that would be great. All right, we'll move on. No old business, because technically the McKenna, the annual report is new, and then the recommendation is new, but that'll go to old business after today. So starting with A, the annual report provided by McKenna. I don't know if you had a chance, hopefully you all had a chance to read through it. It is more than just us, but also the Zoning Board of Appeals is also in there. But I also recommend our public to read it as well, in case they're wondering what we do and what we have done. But are there any concerns with taking this to council? Because I think we do need a motion to take this to council. And I believe, did you want to read the memo in for the annual
Yeah, I
review?
can, I'll introduce.
I'm sorry,
myself.
I didn't, yes, please introduce yourself. You didn't do a roll call with you either.
Yeah, so Chris isn't feeling well, so he asked me to step in to support you guys tonight. But yeah, this planning report is something that's required by state act, the Michigan Planning and Enabling Act. So it's something that we do every year. And as you guys will see, you guys met 11 times in 2025. We got the commissioners listed on that right column. We did some zoning code and general code amendments. You'll see the regulations dealing with open burning, wireless communication facilities, amendments to the zoning regulations of the R3 district, and the nuisance abatement and blight reduction. It sounds like we're still talking about that item. We had a few reviews: Time and Place Hospitality, Franklin Oyster Bar and Eatery. It looks like you guys at the end of 2025 recommended adoption of the master plan. Don't know if there's more of an update to that at this point or not.
It's still, the last paragraph represents where we are with it still, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks. And then for the future ideas for 2026 and going forward, obviously adopting the plan, it sounds like that'll be easy enough one. Future code amendments, we're kind of talking about some of those tonight. Implementation of the master plan, so following those goals and objectives within that master plan you guys just recently or will adopt, and then a capitals improvement plan. And as you mentioned at the end, you also have the summary of the ZBA, who had 6 meetings, and in that table you'll see specific variances that went to that board at that time. If there's any more specific questions, I'll try my best to answer them for you. Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Yeah,
which-
Hunter Whitehill is my name if I did not say that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all. Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for stepping in.
Of
Yes.
course, of course.
Great, all right. Are there any comments with regards to master plan? You guys, when you had a chance to read it through it? Some great pictures, by the way, especially of the places where we had site plan reviews. And also, good job, summary for the zoning board. I think that, I like this type of document. I'm glad that Chris is helping us do this every year now. It's like, I think it's our 3rd year in a row that we've actually been able to do, we've been doing it more appropriately. And I think it helps the council understand what we do, and as well as the public to know what we do. Plus, if you don't like what we're doing, you can read it in nice print and then come tell us about it, so we can actually help represent you better. So that would be great, especially with the nuisance abatement. So I appreciate that. So can we get a motion to is not present? It is. What is it? A motion? Is it really a motion to actually declare to?
It's not a motion for adoption, it's a motion to maybe forward to the
Yeah.
council. Maybe that'd be the best way to
I think you're right.
verbalize it.
Thanks, Hunter. So can I get a motion to present this council as a?
I will make a motion to present the annual report to Village Council.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? No. Okay. All right, thank you very much, Hunter. All right, so the next memo or topic is with regards to the feedback and the homework that McKenna took on with regards to the nuisance abatement direction that we gave them last month. So if you go to, I believe, page 17 of our packet, Chris wrote us a memo based on the conversations we had. Hunter, if you want to give the summary, or I can do it either way, or if you want to read through it, that's fine too. That's kind of normally how we do it. Just make sure it
Yeah.
presents it as a memo.
So it looks like you guys kind of split up into groups. If I took a read at this earlier today, it sounds like you guys kind of split it up and focus on tackling it to that effect. And then the 3 sections that are being amended is chapter 678, chapter 648, and then lastly chapter 1268. And we're kind of tackling a host of issues, and some of them are related to each other. And when I took a look in your guys' code of ordinance, I spent a little bit of time, and it looks like in some areas Chris beefed these up, and in other areas we may have retained quite a bit, but just added in language where it was necessary. And I guess, I have these 3 drafts in front of me. If we have anything that still hasn't been resolved, I can make edits to get to Chris, so you guys at your next meeting will have a cleaned up, polished version.
Perfect.
But to my understanding, you guys kind of gave him some guidance, and hopefully these resolve some of those issues from
Yeah, so
last month.
we'll review the updates that he gave it right now, so that way you have a chance to make any
Thank you.
changes. We can do that in direction. We can do that. Okay. So for chapter 678 for safety, sanitation, and health, he talked about adding to the. Sorry, we gave us. talking about different the definitions, different definitions. He's pretty much. Do you know the differences actually already of, because he didn't do a line, red line.
Cross out, you know what it is?
Yeah, I'm looking for the red lining.
I have the old packet right here.
Yeah,
Not sure
so-
it's word for word.
Now, what I will say is the code of ordinances I'm seeing online actually looks like that 678.01 was repealed. So it actually, based on what I'm looking at, is it potential that this is replacing that repealed section? Does that sound familiar?
Actually doesn't.
Yeah, no, because we had some stuff that we did take out, re-edited here.
Yeah, but that's 648.
Point one.
678 though is a different one.
What was 678?
It was storage of building materials in residential areas. It's under sanitation, safety, sanitation, and health.
Well, 678 in our code that I'm looking at on Am Legal actually said open burning. I'm wondering if that, because it sounds like you guys admitted that based on the annual planning report. I'm wondering if that got moved to a different section, and then this new section 678, storage of building materials, is to replace this chapter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Is that a, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here.
Well,
You guys have more familiarity with it than I do.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, 678, it may have been mentioned, but we didn't have paperwork on that, so that's a new section then for us.
Yeah, that must be a new
Okay.
section.
That has to be the new section for us. Okay. Yeah, there, because 64801 is here, so I have the changes here from there.
Yeah, so then for 678, the ordinance then is simplified in that the definition, building is basically defining what building materials are. So they shall include but not limited to lumber, bricks, blocks, concrete, cement, and mortar, plumbing materials, electrical wiring, equipment, heating ducts and equipment, roof shingles, fasteners, and fencing material. So standard materials used for building. Except as a note in section C below, building materials shall not be kept or stored outdoors in a residential zone or used district. And then the orderly outdoor storage of building materials shall be permitted on residential premises where there is in effect a valid building permit for construction and the building materials are intended for such construction. Now, we had talked about that briefly last time because not everything needs a permit for building. Right, so we should I believe we should modify that in that regard because not every construction requires it. Like if for example you're putting down a brick pavers, do you need a building permit for brick pavers?
No.
No, but you have bricks that you're storing until you can lay down the brick pavers.
Painting, stuff like
Or
that.
paint, yeah, like. So how do we want to handle, or how do we want to make recommendations with regards to situations where, I mean, if you're building a garden box, it's the same thing, right? We don't need, you can have Menards dump the lumber in your driveway and then, build the box at home.
Maybe difficult to draw a line in the sand, so to speak, and say, you can have these materials because they're not part of a permit, but you can't have these if you don't have a permit. It might be hard to.
It's a whole new can of worms.
Right.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
It totally is. So I'm assuming the intention behind this was there's been some storage of material.
Yes.
That's okay.
So the question though is it possible to, I mean, I think we had talked briefly last month though that, about having some sort of, notification to the village saying, hey, I'm going to have the building material on our property for an extended period of time for XYZ project, not necessarily a permit, but letting the village know to get out ahead of, or at least if the compliance officer reaches out to them, they have a recourse without having to have a permit. I don't know, Bill, what do you recommend would be the best way to manage it without having to pull a permit? Because that's adds cost to a project, it also adds unnecessary documentation for something that doesn't necessarily need it.
That's a very difficult situation to try to get a handle on.
Would,
don't think that issuing a permit for such activity makes real sense. But I think that allowing certain construction items to be there for a period of time, short, be it
Yeah.
whatever it is, makes perfect sense when there's activities that are allowed to take place and or are not regulated. You mentioned both of them. You can have a raised garden, but it takes treated materials usually or some type of construction materials to do a raised.
Yeah, how about something like, if you were to just say, or an ongoing project for, a reasonable amount of time, which leaves it fully discretionary, to yourself and the code enforcement. Does that sound like something that might work, just so that we don't prohibit, building materials for someone who's doing something that doesn't require a permit?
Part of the problem with that is, Pete, and I understand where you're going with that, and it does make perfect sense. The problem is, if it goes past that time and we start enforcement activities, now you draw into question what's reasonable to you, time frame may not be reasonable to me.
So that's what I'm actually offering that.
This thing where we're having a
Yeah.
hard time pushing
It's true.
enforcement.
It's
So
true.
I think allowing certain building materials, I think it would make sense to put some kind of a time frame within the framework. Notify the building department, have 45 days or 60 days or 30 days to put together your project or allow for an extension for reasonable cost.
That's fair.
Just adding in, I was just trying to brainstorming under section C, the orderly outdoor storage of building materials of projects that shall last more than a week shall be permitted on residential premises where they're in effect for the valid building permit of construction. So, like, it took me 3 days to do my brick paper patio, but it was a lot of bricks there, but it was only there for 3 days. So I think putting wording where we have a time limit of a week.
I think.
Depends on the project.
It does depend on the project.
Too much though, we got a project going on down 13 miles, been going on for a year.
Yeah, but that's a large-scale project that requires a
Beyond
permit.
What's reasonable, in my,
I completely agree.
So,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, please.
It's, ooh, your laptop. It's not like a wallet.
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
fine. Hate that laptop. What I was gonna say is that for things like the project on 13 Mile, I think we should just tie it to the permit, right? Like we don't even have to put reasonable. We can just tie it so long as essentially it's good as long as the permit is.
Yeah.
For smaller projects though, I would go with rather than saying a project that lasts more than X amount of days, I would just start with a threshold of it is good for this period of time, subject to, and then you can ask for you can ask for extensions at the discretion of the administration. And what that does is it kind of forces project timelines as well as creating that necessary objective threshold.
Well, the starting point of it as well, though, that there may be an issue is, again, it comes down to code enforcement and complaints, because we don't know when somebody's starting a project that's small, we're gonna have stuff storage there. So it's definitely important for residents to keep receipts of the delivery of the storage material, so we can say, okay, where's your receipt for the delivery? Then, okay, it's been here for, I can see, 2 weeks.
Right.
So you have to talk to code enforcement now.
So let me ask this question though, because, I mean, is it a problem if it's in your backyard, the backyard, no one can see it?
Right.
It's kind of up to your neighbor.
Right? Because this is a report-based thing. I mean, I'd be more offended, I'm not offended, but I guess I'd be more frustrated if it was in someone's front yard or the front side yard, because then it's, more visible. But let me put it this way. It is not uncommon for people that build a patio to have spare tiles that sit either in their shed or by a shed, in the case that a tile cracks and they need to replace the brick tile, the tile, and And so if they store it in their backyard and no one sees it, then, I mean, are we enforcing that? And if that's the case, then how are we gonna equally distribute, I mean, enforce this ordinance?
Our ordinance enforcement activity, as much as you have ordinances and it wouldn't necessarily be, but a lot of it is complaint driven.
It is.
In other words, we don't run around looking for every little thing to.
Out of sight, out of mind.
I mean, if it's blatant, it's clearly visible, but a lot of it's complaint driven, and we just don't go around backyards looking for extra bricks. I mean, is that what we do? Well, first off, we can't.
Right.
We cannot enter around private property that's trespassing, even if there is a violation. But be that as it may, I think it can also be addressed with similar to what the building code does. The building code says if you have inactivity for a period of time, your permit's not good anymore. So I think addressing this type of situation with a simpler approach, in other words, you can have it as long as you continue to work on it, but when you stop for doing it for any period of time, it's over, get rid of it. So,
I have a question about, I guess, first of all, do you think, Bill, that it's practical, or is there a way to make it easy for a homeowner to let the village know that they're building a raised bed garden? Because if we can't have that part where there is,
Yeah.
if we don't have a way to really keep track of that, then a lot of what we're talking about won't follow. So I guess, I know we've talked about this type of thing in the past where, it's easy with the fire department. They just call up and say,
Or you
I'm
go-
gonna be burning leaves.
Actually, go to their website, it's even
You
easier.
go to
now.
the website, yeah. And it's a pretty easy form to fill out. But in this case, what is your opinion? I could see something like an email that goes into some mailbox somewhere, but then we would have to build that into the ordinance.
I don't see that would be a difficult thing to do, to register that you'll have this stuff and get an approval for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that period of time needs to be flexible. I know I can't work at the speed I did 30 years ago. It just doesn't work that way for me anymore.
Yep.
Some people have different abilities. You may be able to get something done in 3 or 4 days, and somebody else.
It's definitely a hard one.
Maybe needing help from neighbors and whatever, and it may take them longer. So I don't know that there's a cut and dry answer for this, but I think there could be a way to put some type of parameter to it where it doesn't go on forever.
We'd have to add some language about if we were to make it easy for a homeowner, I would propose that we could add some language that would have an email address, or at least say, notify the village in a documented manner that specifies that you will be storing building materials for a period of time, probably something like not to exceed 30 days. And if you need to extend it, then you need to apply for that. So, it seems like that way your neighbor's not gonna be complaining, and there is an objective way to enforce it.
So it would be nice to know what neighborhoods around us do with regards to that kind of enforcement, if it's even, I know that some of our neighbors do have nuisance abatement laws, but it would be nice to know what is kind of standard in our area of Michigan. So that, maybe that's something, research we can have McKenna do for us, is just to
Yeah.
look to see, because let's put it this, I'm just gonna blunt. There's certain people that are rule followers, and they look for the rules to follow, where they actively look for the rules. And, a lot of times they're first children, personalities, that do that. And there are people that are like, I'll ask forgiveness, rather than permission. And that's how it's gonna be, right? So regardless of what we put in here, no one's gonna read the ordinance necessarily ahead of time, and they'll only look to the ordinance if they feel like it's either it's not helping them in some way. So it'd be nice to know kind of what's standard from other
That's fair.
communities.
I mean, it's almost, I mean, you're suggesting, because we could do it ad infinitum, right? Everything. So if you just don't put any language in there regarding this, right? And it would be curious to see, I agree, if what other communities might do.
I agree with you. I think in Chris's memo, he gave us this thing about the rubbish and garbage. And I think that this, like, even construction material, if it's not like a permanent thing, it would be considered rubbish. So like, he gives the accumulation of 14 days, so that way that's 2 trash days, right? So if we build in that, beyond that, I think then maybe it can be like a, hey, if this is an ongoing project, then maybe let someone know. Because then we can tie it into what's already in there, then it becomes easier for us, I think, to be able to do that. Work smarter, not harder.
No, like, as long, you're saying keep them similar to each other, so that way the wording, so it's
The
under.
wording overlaps.
Well, yeah, because the construction material would become rubbish after 14
Right.
days anyway.
Right.
So then
Something like
instead, if you're not using it, it would. So then, beyond that, if it is meant for a project, just let someone know kind of thing, through that kind of thing, what Pete was saying. I think that way it sort of hits both ends, where it becomes, hey, you have 2 weeks. Figure out your plan, understand the weather, X, Y, Z, but beyond that, like, have a plan so your neighbors can know.
Okay. So the direction seems twofold. Is first, let's, in my mind, is find out what our community's neighbors are doing for that already. And then twofold, if we can steer both of the two ordinances to be similar in execution time, then it reduces the burden on someone to know, like, they can assume, they can have a better assumption that both the timeouts are gonna be similar.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense to me. All right. Do we want to talk 678 anymore? I think we kind of, we good to move to the next one?
Sure.
Okay. So 648, litter, rubbish, and garbage removal. So mostly this is kind of summarizing, changing wording from last meeting.
Yeah, it was a cleanup, and looking at this, it exact word for word is cleaned up in 6.01, or 48.01.
Yes, most of the definitions were cleaned
Yeah,
up.
and then, yeah, it's everything's matching from what we took out last time. So, we've already discussed
There was
648.
something about a private garbage can
Yeah.
on public property.
Right.
I think that was removed entirely.
It was.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then,
That was 648.06, right?
yeah, 648, the entirety of it from last meeting is covered and updated to reflect what changes we've already discussed. So that looks good now.
Yeah.
I do have to say, because I watched the council meeting where David was talking about like the trash and like the leaves and stuff, and all I could think about when the weather was really bad is all of our neighbors' garbage flew everywhere during that time, and I'm like, every time I'm on a dog walk, I'm like bringing a garbage can and cleaning it all up, because there's just garbage everywhere, and like, it's whose responsibility, and I feel like everyone's just playing the waiting game now of waiting till it just flows into their neighbor's yard, because there was just so much garbage that flew away, and I think things like that, maybe it would be helpful to lift up in communication of, hey, in times of, like high winds, recognize that keeping, our neighborhood clean, everyone's responsibility kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, if times of high winds, like, take your cans out in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what I did, because I leave for work.
Yes,
at
we did too.
6.
But yeah,
All right,
those,
it's out, done.
those are things we might want to think about just in terms of like what we can do to sort of support not having to have some of these issues that I could foresee happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I said, I see 648 is just, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm willing to discuss anything you want in there, if you have any questions,
No, it's-
it's exactly updated word for word how we did it.
Yeah, I think it's fine for 648. I do, like I said, reflect back on, let's just double check on regional ordinances to make sure that the timeline also is similar to Bingham and Beverly and, West Bloomfield and the areas around us to see, maybe Farmington, just to make sure that we're consistent with our neighbors.
A lot of theirs was, when I looked, it was between 5 to 10 days, but then we had specifically said, hey, if we miss a garbage day last
Yeah.
week. So I think that's why
We
he put
needed
it
at
in
least
there.
10 days.
Yes, but I think that was, when I was looking, 5 to 10 was the standard I kept finding.
Yeah, okay. All right. We'll confirm, because I think, once we know, I think it'd be good to have 648 and 678,
Yeah.
done at the same time.
Agreed.
Okay. All right, let's move down to chapter, any other comments on 678? Okay, 648, sorry, 648,
648,
yeah.
under penalty, equitable remedies. I think this one may have gotten missed under the municipal civil infraction ordinance. I think that it would behoove the planner maybe to look into incorporating this as a municipal and civil infraction that allows us quicker activity into the courts if we have to go that route. But under the municipal civil infraction citation, it also allows us to request injunctive orders.
So wait, that's 648.99 though, right?
Yeah, it would be in that particular
Yeah, it says,
section.
yeah, guilty of a misdemeanor or a municipal civil infraction as determined within the village's discretion. So that's what you're saying, so it could be either one.
Most ordinances in and of themselves, they're either misdemeanors or they're civil infractions. They're not open to both.
Are we not allowed to do both, or is or not an option?
No, the ordinance has to be pretty clear. Well, what the ordinance says under municipal civil infraction is if it's not a misdemeanor, it's automatically a municipal civil infraction. Okay? But if this says that it's either or,
Okay,
that's really not a good option.
So are you suggesting we remove municipal civil infraction and just leave that
I'm
misdemeanor?
suggesting you
remove misdemeanor,
eliminate or remove the misdemeanor
yeah.
Well, I was saying,
and leave the municipal civil infraction as the course of action
okay,
under an enforcement activity.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see what you're saying. So, yeah, remove misdemeanor would be the idea then, okay.
Yeah, here's the difference between the two if you're not aware. A misdemeanor, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, where a municipal civil infraction is a preponderance of evidence.
okay.
In other words, we just have to believe that you created this situation.
Okay.
We don't have to be there, see that you did it, and that's beyond a reasonable doubt, okay?
Okay,
Okay,
So it allows us so much more flexibility to be able to work through the court process that way.
gotcha.
then, okay.
Besides that, the fine typically is not 90 days in jail because I had some building materials in my yard.
So then,
And
yeah,
that's why it's so tough.
Yeah,
The penalties for a misdemeanor, which is a lower crime, where a municipal civil infraction is not typically a crime per se, but you are in violation of what the ordinance says.
okay. Well, if that's the case, then let's remove misdemeanor if it makes it easier for the village to enforce.
yeah, I agree. Pete?
Besides that, we can do that in-house, we don't have to run around finding attorneys to submit this stuff for us.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Hunter,
So, no
Yeah.
if we could remove misdemeanor.
Yeah, I get it.
I know you're typing, I just want to say it for the record.
Yeah, thank you.
That we told you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, and if you come back next month and give us a reason why it needs to be a misdemeanor, then feel free, but,
Let us know.
Let us know.
Those are typical under the police actions.
yeah.
You know, there's some things that have to be misdemeanors. I mean, violations against, or offenses against other persons. Yeah, that's clearly misdemeanor material. Maybe-
Someone's rubbish is,
maybe
might be a.
felony, but some junk in the side yard doesn't qualify, so.
Misdemeanor for
Yeah.
putting chemicals near a well entrance, that's a misdemeanor. Or is it a civil infraction? We,
Well, if you violate Eagle, like the environmental, you're gonna have different, problems.
yeah.
Okay, so let's move to 1268 for supplementary regulations. So parking and storage of vehicles, equipment and storage containers in residential area.
What I saw was added, which made it easier, was the definition of abandoned motor vehicle.
Based on this public act.
Yeah. So that was, I like having that there. It's a broad cover, so that's good. And the purpose was
Yep.
summarized
Yeah,
differently, which it meets what we had here.
and the definition of commercial vehicles, they updated the, no, I'm sorry, no, the, where's RVs? I'm looking for that. Recreational vehicles.
Private passenger vehicle, licensed private passenger vehicle, okay, there it is.
Chris did a nice job of summarizing the pods and the storage containers in the residential districts. It went through everything I know we had talked about.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
went through that.
That's keeping a vehicle for reserve storage.
There's recreational vehicle, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Recreational vehicle, and then, yep. So they removed it from there, yeah. Where you at?
I'm looking at regulations C, one, with regards to surface.
All parking and storage should be empty. Ugh.
Yeah, that one's a little tough because, I mean, are crushed limestone, people have gravel too in our village.
I mean, I have a good section of my yard that is used, but then again, it's by visitors, not in wintertime.
Right.
So,
I mean, I have neighbors who have gravel driveways intentionally because they like the way that
it is nice. My grandparents had one.
and that means it's not crushed limestone. Yeah, we might be limiting, we might be inadvertently limiting, people that have different types of surfaces. So I guess what it means though is like, yeah,
Let's,
you can't park on your driveway because it's gravel.
yeah, can we recommend, revisiting C1
Yeah,
under regulations? Because, like I said, like I could get a ticket in the wintertime just for parking on my, bottom of my hill. So-
yeah, but I
so
think
the plow can go
there's a
through.
timeline on it too, isn't there?
In a different section, I think.
Yeah.
So it's the crushed limestone you're thinking about?
Well, not just I mean, there's more than just crushed limestone that you can park on, right?
So
Like
that was my,
pavers.
that was
That's what I
my,
was thinking.
all right, that was my point. That we
Like,
would probably not
we're
want
all-
to say just crushed limestone, but, you know, any appropriate driveway,
We're all making-
gravel, stone,
Material.
sand,
We all,
yes, sir.
we all agree.
Actually, under the parking ordinance, if it is gravel, the ordinance requires it to be crushed limestone.
It does. Interesting.
So you don't get the option of 21 double A or.
Does that seem,
Unfortunately, the parking part of the ordinance requires that.
mm-hmm,
And the only reason I would think it has something to do with that is the net.
Maybe the parking ordinance needs to be.
Yes.
Adjusted.
Yeah,
Yeah, can we, this is opening a can of worms, but yeah, let's
Revisit surface.
let's look at surfaces, in more detail in our next meeting if we could, because section 1262.02, C, because I think, depending on when it was written, it might be limiting in what people actually use,
Right.
today.
Yeah, there's all sorts of,
I mean,
there's grid systems that let grass grow through the grids, so.
I believe the reason behind the crushed limestone is previous materials that weren't crushed limestone had fines in it. When you have those fines, that creates dust,
yes,
okay? So crushed limestone, there is not the dust attached to it. And I think that's just my opinion of what was behind this. But today, there are other materials out there
right,
that, like 21 AA, when you first put it down, it can get a little dusty, but once it packs in, there's no dust attached.
right, and then it's also, I mean, for our village, we actually encourage permeable surfaces for for driveways and sidewalks and
But we have
patios.
limits on what permeable surfaces can be percentage.
Which is why, I mean, we
I
record,
remember a
Yeah, I remember-
discussion, a guy right here in the R3 district that wants, he's got a gravel driveway and it's causing him trouble. So, you know.
right. Yeah, and I think, but we, as a village, because we're all on well water, we want to encourage that our rainwater stays in the village and doesn't run off
Right.
somewhere else. So, in fact, and we've run into this before, you know, with regards to permeable surfaces and accessory buildings, and as well as other basketball courts in the backyard, tennis courts, things like that, which create, you know, there are permeable ways of doing it, and there's non-permeable ways of doing it. And so it's something we want to encourage. I don't think we don't want to limit people. What?
No, I just know there's like a product that is like an asphalt, but it absorbs water
Yeah.
through the ground.
But that would be fine if they just call that, if they call it asphalt.
Yeah, but it's still, it's like one of those, hey, it's a permeable ground, why does it count towards my permeable surface? It's asphalt, but it goes through.
My interpretation of what the ordinance says about that
Yeah.
is if you can prove to me that a particular material has a certain permeability rating, I will take the permeability part of it and not count it against the lot coverage part,
Right,
because
Okay.
it is permeable.
right.
There's a large project going on down on 13 Mile, where one of the variances that was taken to them, they.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah.
This was
So
zoning.
what actually the builder did was went out and found the product that allowed him to create that driveway space. But he's got the product and he proved to me that this stuff has like a 90% permeability rating to it. Cool. So 10% of that area is not permeable, the other 90% is. There we go.
Perfect.
So, I mean, that's how I interpret what the code was meant to do.
Right.
Yeah, spirit of the code.
That meets the intent of the code.
Yeah, perfect.
Understood. Okay, going down, parking and storage of commercial vehicles. This one's always kind of, I've always been a little concerned about this one because, we do have, people that, you know, take commercial vehicles home, in the evening and park, and the recommendation that they typically get is park in their garage. Because that way, no one sees your commercial vehicle on the road. And that's the typical recommendation that's given by a village. But it does put, but that, does that mean that someone that has an F-250 as their daily driver, is that, I mean, that's like not a commercial vehicle to them. I mean, and if you're in Texas, this F-650 is a daily driver for some people.
Yeah.
Which is almost a semi. Yeah, nothing like pulling up to a restaurant and parking next to one of those. I've done that before. But yeah, no, they're huge and they're commercial. They're intended for commercial use, but they're not being used in a commercial vehicle. So is it fair for, is it the commercial vehicle that we're trying to avoid, or is it like all the tools and everything that's attached to it and the signage? Is that what we're trying to avoid? And that's,
I think what you're probably trying to avoid is the gravel hauler,
right,
which is what they drive. coming home for the night.
Yeah.
And I think that I was here before when this was discussed once before. And that's what came out of it, is what you find in the ordinance, trying to define what is a commercial vehicle and what is not. And what do people normally drive or not drive. I mean, up where I live, it's not unheard of to see 350 parked in your driveway, a dually, you know?
Yep.
So,
Even then, if somebody has an excursion, that's a 350, that's modified.
all that.
Like,
part of the problem is some of your older homes don't have the capability.
No, my
of
home,
having these vehicles in them.
yeah, I can't, the truck I drive is that I couldn't get a Colorado because the antenna would get broken off first thing. But my Toyota Tacoma fits perfectly in the old garage, but it is meant for a sedan. It's not meant for a truck to drive into.
I've got a 150, and it is about that much clearance to get into my garage, and I have to stick with just a crew cab. I can't go to the super crew, because then it's too long and it hangs out the building. My garage is 25 foot deep, you know? So it's tough. How do you do this? You know?
well, I want to throw another wrench in there, let's go the other direction, because me personally, I'm looking for all the drive car for myself, but one I can afford. I'm looking at these new legalized K-trucks that are coming out from, imported in. Like, they're really cool, but I'm using it as a daily driver. Is that a commercial vehicle, even though it has a hydraulic bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is,
Well, and the new vans they have today.
Oh, yeah.
Ah,
all right, well, let's, I think we need to do a good job of, let's go back, let's go home tonight and let's look at summarizing what we really think the intent of this is meant to be. Because you're right,
The K-truck is so cool.
I'm glad you like
I
it.
want one so bad.
Maybe we'll have a public comment on why we shouldn't have K-trucks or why we should have K-trucks.
Listen, man.
Next
Don't
month.
do that. It fits in my garage, it hauls what I need.
Well, if it fits in your garage, it's not a problem. But yeah, so anyway, so the point though is that how do we manage that? I mean, a previous neighbor of mine, he was a contractor and he was basically just told to park in his garage. So he had a side garage that would fit his truck just because of that complaint from neighbors. So let's talk about, oh, do you have?
Yeah, I think this is a good topic for me also to bring back to council.
Yeah.
To the question that you were asking, because I think I can speak to my own opinion, but I don't represent all of council, so I think it's an appropriate one for all of council, which is like, what are we really seeking to regulate here, right? Is it a van, a minivan that has markings on it? Or is it the size of the vehicle that we're truly concerned with?
I personally believe that this is targeted specifically towards vans and trucks that have logos on them that don't fit the aesthetic of the neighborhood, essentially.
Right.
Which no one realistically is not. I don't think people would be bothered by it.
And so that's my personal opinion, right? Like as one council member, yeah, I don't love the fact that like we're interfering with somebody's.
Like that's how they.
That's how they make their living, right?
Right.
And so like that's where personally, as one council member speaking, like I struggle with that and limiting somebody's ability to do so. And so I'll bring that back to council to get alignment of like what are we truly seeking to solve with this one?
Yeah, because I mean, just as an example, I'll tell you, I was at the barber last week, and the barber was pointing out to the parking lot out in front. And he says, "This guy has come every day and parks his car every day. He's a painter. He parks his car in their parking lot, and the parking lot owner is getting ready to want to tow him because he lives in Farmington, and there's an ordinance that he can't park his painter's truck in his driveway, and so every morning he drives his other car to the parking lot, picks up his painter's truck, goes to work. He doesn't leave things in the truck because he doesn't want it stolen. So he takes everything out of his one truck, puts it in his painter's truck, drives to work, comes back and changes truck. So the car's not there 24 hours a day, but it's there overnight. And it takes up a parking spot from the businesses there, but at the same time, it's created because of an ordinance that says he can't park his work vehicle at home. at his home, and unless he's
Well,
able to fully.
he has to have two vehicles because he can't park one at his house.
Right. So anyway, yeah, please take that to council. We can bring that up in our next council meeting. But yeah, it's yes, it is definitely something we probably should get better direction on what the intent is in our village council, Farmington Village Council now. Okay. Parking and storing of non-commercial vehicles in residential districts. So, I mean, it makes sense, inoperable and unlicensed private passenger vehicles, obviously or recreational vehicles. I think those are things that we are definitely trying to address this time around, with this. And even recreational vehicles, I mean, you look at the neighborhoods around us, those that have recreational vehicles, there are a lot of accessory buildings that store the recreational vehicle if they don't store it off-site. And, the reason why I say that is because I drive my son to high school every morning, and when I leave to go out of the parking lot, there is clearly an RV garage that's right next to the high school. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's how they're getting around it. That's how they're covering
We
it.
have a couple here,
And we have a few here too.
but in order to build them, because of the height limitation of the accessory buildings, you have to build it as an addition to the house.
So it's attached.
Huh?
It has to be attached to the home.
Structurally attached, what's that definition mean?
2x4.
We have one that parks a great big huge motor home, it's huge, and it's got a roof that goes between the two.
Like a breezeway.
But there's no walls to it, it's just a roof.
Yeah.
That's structurally attached.
He's parked under it.
No.
That was before my time, but it's right.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So,
Okay. Okay.
well, that's, you'd be surprised how many cars are parked in houses around here. You only knew that.
But I think one of the biggest updates for us though is that we do close the loophole of inoperable recreational vehicles, in E2. Okay. Any other points that you guys, from your reading previously, that you'd like to bring up?
No, I'm happy we addressed the pods.
Here.
Yep.
Okay. Appalachian income, and that's,
I mean, the permit makes sense, right? But is there the fee structure on that though? I don't think there is, right? I didn't see one.
I don't think the permit fee would be incorporated into the ordinance, I think.
No, it's not, it's outside, but it's usually added to the fee structure, table, but I'm looking for referencing that.
I remember
Yeah,
we
he-
talked about it.
F1F, a permit fee may be established by resolution of the village council.
Okay. Yes, there it is, thank you. The last one, it's small print on my machine. Okay,
It's actually E3 F1F. It's where that line is.
do we want to restrict, I guess there's not really, no, I think, I do like the restrictions on the placement.
Yeah,
That seems reasonable. So we have, paved, obviously on a hard surface or durable surface. I mean, and it's just good practice to have it in a safe upright position. Hopefully, that's a common sense thing.
ooh,
But not in the public road or right of way. I do appreciate that. Or utility easement, that's.
the only thing I have on that is containers shall be maintained in good condition, free from graffiti, et cetera, et cetera. They drop, the U-Haul, for example, they drop off what they drop off. It's not the renter's fault if it comes pre-graffitied. I understand why it's there, it's just, why are we holding them at fault if that's what they end up delivering?
But is the permit required? So, I mean, is it also in the best interest of U-Haul to not have graffiti on there?
Completely agree, but depending on what franchise you're going to.
I'm sorry, I think, I mean, the thing is, here's the challenge though is it First Amendment, right, it's free speech on there, and can they use that as a complaint?
Which section are you in specifically?
Restrictions, it's under E, is what I was.
Free from graffiti. So is graffiti protected by the First Amendment?
Depends on what the graffiti is.
Depends if it's, yeah. if
No,
it's
it shouldn't.
all-
It should not matter what it says, but, so you'd have to do it on basis of,
Well, if it's hate speech, it wouldn't be protected.
Correct.
hate speech is a
And-
border case, I guess, right?
I wouldn't say
I would say so.
No, in many places it's illegal. Hate speech is defined and illegal, David?
Yeah. that's
Charity.
right. I mean, as far as graffiti goes, we can ban it, you just can't do it content-based.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
It's all-
but then,
Well, we can, but I'm saying in the reference of you're ordering, you go to U-Haul, hey, I need a pod, they deliver the pod, it just happens to have graffiti on it.
Yeah.
Are we gonna hold the renter responsible for that graffiti if they're just using it for a couple weeks?
So, here's the thing, if you're
That's
pulling,
what
if you're pulling a permit, they're gonna have to read the ordinance, right?
Yeah,
And so if they read the ordinance and it says no graffiti, then they can say, look, I'm not allowed to have a pod that has graffiti on it. Is that gonna delay me in getting my pod?
Yeah, okay. That's the route I was thinking would be addressed, but I just wanna make.
As long as we can do graffiti, just
Good, but-
blanket statement graffiti, maintain in good condition, right?
Yeah,
So, and honestly, if you're using one of these, you don't wanna have excessive rust or look dilapidated or falling apart container anyway.
fully agree. It's just,
so we have a line, a permit fee may be established by resolution of the village council. It's unusual to see a line like that.
No, we have it a lot, actually, now. We went through our ordinances and changed a lot of our fee structures that way. So that way, we don't have to change the ordinance to change the fees. The council can do it more dynamically.
Yeah.
Without change, they change that single, huh?
You could require it, but it would be by resolution.
Right. So it
versus
just,
an ordinance
This
change.
may is subjective, either you could or you don't have to. If the language was that a permit shall be,
I think,
can require the fee, but the fee, it still needs to be through a resolution by council to set what that is.
Or to change it. I mean, do all permits require a fee?
Typically.
There's
they
some
do,
processing
because
fee.
What you're doing is if you require a permit is requiring staff to do something. That's why there's usually a fee attached to try to offset the cost of what you're requiring
the work,
staff to do.
Right,
So.
all right, well,
Well,
so a
it'll go to
permit fee
council.
Is to be established by resolution of council. Or shall be versus may.
so really, right now,
They're
they're
not
You know-
gonna pass this ordinance anyway.
well, let's put.
That's what I was saying.
I say
don't know.
what, they can also change that, they can also change the wording from may to shall if they choose to anyway, cause they're allowed to do single word, like, do word edits when they pass the ordinance. We make the recommendation, but they end up
Oh,
Yeah.
that's potentially,
changing the wording.
yeah.
well,
So-
what should we recommend?
I would recommend that as is, the fee.
I
be
think may is
established.
fine,
Yeah,
All right.
because it gives flexibility but doesn't make requirement.
But I guess my question is, what is the fee? I believe that So I do apply for a lot of permits, and generally, there's always some kind of processing fee.
Right, and there's a fee structure resolution that,
right.
that is basically just a single sheet that tells you what the fees are,
Okay.
and that's all they're changing.
Well, it's not a fee sheet,
Or,
a bunch of them, but typically when when a resolution is put together, staff usually puts together why this is a fee, and then council by resolution says yea or nay, or changes it, or
Right.
whatever they do. The fee, I mean, if you're gonna charge a permit, you really need to provide a function, because otherwise it's not a fee anymore, it's a fine.
right,
Yeah.
Okay, and fines can only be imposed by the courts.
so is this, I mean, but this is, the fee is for filing
Yeah,
the permit,
to cover the cost, and it would be minimal at best, I'm
Right.
sure.
yeah. And that's why it's may and
But
not shall,
we have garage sale sign fees, it's $1.
right,
I mean, that doesn't cover the cost of what we do, but it's something that requires a person to do for a sign. And they're not getting it for free, they do have to pay something.
And then the time limitation, the permits for the time limitation, it's like, hey, I'm coming in, there may not be a fee associated with the first time filing for the permit, but filing for an extension, it's like, okay, now we're gonna charge you a filing fee.
yeah, right, they could do a
But that makes sense to me.
extension fee,
But that's what I'm saying, that makes sense to me. It's like, okay, thank you for telling us you're gonna have it for 30 days, it's not going in 30 days, you'll get a fine if you don't register the permit.
We get that on a lot of our, like, building permits that get extended, if they're going past a certain time.
yeah,
Then there's a fee for doing that.
Yeah.
Temporary certificates of occupancy are usually given for a period of time. If you need extension on that, then you
Right.
have to pay a fee.
okay. All right, anything else for this? I think if everything is okay so far, we can come back with any recommendations or changes, from McKenna, and then do a public hearing in the next month, so it'd be, May would be our first public hearing possibly. So, one of, are we okay closing this topic? I do have one last thing I wanted to share that I forgot to mention earlier. I know, I'm doing terrible today. What?
Well,
We can
Okay.
move on.
shocked.
You're shocked, okay.
I'm
so-
appalled.
You're appalled.
See?
Actually, you are. So actually, one more thing, with regards to public notices, because actually, why, I meant to bring it up in the, previously, but the public note, so basically for public hearings, not public hearings, the public notices, they are looking into using the Eagle. The challenge with the public, notices using the Eagle versus Oakland County is that the lead time for the public hearing is, further ahead. Because the Eagle comes out once a month. And so that's where, so I talked to Rachel about it, and that was the conclusion, that it would be great to do that. However, if we're going to do something like what happened with one of the permits where we basically had a week to give them, to do a public hearing. The question is, can we switch between, and she has to find this out, can we switch between venues? Is that legal? If people are looking for public hearings in the Eagle only, and then we decide to go to the Oakland County,
I think we'd have to do a notification of change of venue before we do the change, so we'd have to do a public notice for a public notice change.
yeah. So anyway, so she's gonna look into that, but that's where we stand on that. So since we brought up public hearing,
So
that's
how
what,
does the Oakland Press get around that?
they're more frequent.
So what is, it's not actually a paper document, right?
It's a web document, but they charge us still to publish there, and the Eagle is,
It's odd that, I guess it has a lot to do with circulation. Supposedly, the Oakland Press has a wide broadcast. A lot of people will see it. I just don't think that's the case anymore.
Well, I get it every day on email.
Well, good.
Thank you. Check your
Kudos,
email.
that's great, but.
I have 12,000 unread ones.
But I just wonder if there's other, it just seems like there should be other electronic boards that would be suitable, perfectly suitable, and probably better than the Oakland Press, or
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I agree. And that's unfortunately, the state of Michigan has to change their laws to accommodate maybe
So-
a public hearing email
Well,
or,
now, my question is,
That's what I'm getting at, is just, does it have to be some type of newspaper? Is that what it's saying, something like that?
it has
All
not
right.
been
So,
updated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say in public circulation.
Yeah.
A newspaper of public circulation.
well, I know we get what's going on in Franklin, I get those emails, and I know most residents do. Why can't we promote it there?
This
Does
is
that
a
have to
law
go-
thing that has to be updated.
That's why I asked, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, anyway, I just wanted to say where our status was. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, well, you didn't.
Well, but there are other commissions within the village that have to do public notices too, so I'm wondering if that's all inclusive.
Yeah, right. So anyway,
Cripple the zoning board of appeals for us to have to wait a month.
right. Well, and this is also this is something that it's not the highest priority for the village administrator right now. She's got higher priorities right now, but it is something that we'll continue to look at.
What
and
is
we'll
the-
make a change. It's a cost saving for
That's
us.
why we stuck with Open Press, because we used to do the Reminder or whatever that weekly publication was out of Birmingham.
Yeah.
Similar to the Reminder that's up on the northern part of the county. But the reason we stuck with Open Press is because of their circulation and their timing.
Yeah.
But what is the dollar amounts we're talking about? Isn't it like $1,000 every, I don't know.
Most of our budget, a lot of our budget is McKenna and
Yeah.
our public hearing.
Yeah.
So-
So obviously, yeah, so it's appropriate that we talk about it and that, that it, even though Rachel, obviously, it's not huge on her radar, it's worthy of,
No,
Yeah.
and she's aware of that. We're discussing it. They're trying to save money anywhere they can, and this is a way they could do it. So we have to figure out how that works.
We'll get there. Motion to adjourn.
Wait, oh, I do have one question. I'm sorry. This is more for David, maybe. I've noticed that Evan and Rachel aren't here at our meetings anymore. Is that like standard practice now? Just so I know.
I'm happy to follow up on that one.
Okay.
I know the discussion was essentially subbing you out for them.
For tonight, Evan is out he is at a
Yeah,
conference.
yeah, okay.
So I agreed to come, unlock the doors, start the recorder, and provide whatever function I could as far as that is concerned. I don't not plan on being here on a regular basis.
Right, my overall expectation is like, ideally, unless there's a logistical reason, and again, this is up for them on how they want to.
Okay.
But just how I would expect would be one person.
Okay.
Administration would be here, so that we don't double up on kind of people staying late.
Okay, yeah, no, I feel like it's been like 3 or 4 months, so I just
There-
wanted to make
there-
sure like that if I did need to call someone last minute, that I had someone or
There are
anything
other
like-
commissions in Oakland County that also, they just need someone to take minutes and they just
Okay,
provide
just
somebody
wanted to
minutes.
be
so.
updated so
I-
we're
I-
all on the
I-
same page.
I asked Rachel about it already, so.
is
so.
it policy related or,
Convention for us was to have a village administrator and clerk here. But remember, at that time, for a long time, our village clerk was also an elected official as well. And that was one of their duties as elected official as clerk. So,
yeah. No, I mean, I just think of it because if they don't need to both be here, it's a cost and a
Yeah, that's
burden.
what I agree.
And if we
Just
have
wanna
good,
make
one or
sure
the
I
other,
wasn't
one or the other.
missing something.
are you cheaper than them?
no, we,
Two other meetings a month, I don't see you guys at, so.
this is great timing, Bill, because you've been
No, I already-
so helpful.
Yeah.
Can we get a second to the motion on the table?
No, we're still talking. You can second it, I'm not gonna second.
All in favor?
No one
No one
seconded it.
seconded it.
I did pulse ball and I looked at it. I definitely
You
seconded
just
it.
seconded, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great, thank you.